Hi, my name is Ashiya. I'm a mat Pilates teacher from Manchester in the United Kingdom, and I'm going to take you through a full body fundamental workout today. I actually call it Foundations Plus. So the idea is that this session would be great for someone that's completely new to Pilates, but also someone that's maybe practicing a while and wants to take things back to basics. There's going to be a lot of work on form, setup, really getting the foundations right so that you can make progress in the most effective way. It's going to be full body. It will be, like I say, suitable for beginners, but it's not going to be an easy workout. So you will feel it, even if you've been practicing Pilates for years. That is the joy of it. But yeah, I'm not going to rabbit on too much. What else? I'm BASI certified, so I'm going to be following BASI technique throughout. And yeah, let's get into it. So we're going to begin with a couple of roll downs. So I want you to come to the top of the mat. Standing nice and tall here, you want your feet directly underneath the hips. Shoulders relaxed, hands lightly holding the sides of the body, gazing straight ahead. And just think about really lifting tall from the crown of your head here. Take an inhale, and then exhale. Begin to nod the chin and start to roll forward and down through the spine, one vertebra at a time, letting the arms hang heavy from the shoulders, crown of the head to the floor, and allow a soft bend in the knees here. So we're really thinking more about a back stretch rather than a hamstring stretch. At the bottom, drop the crown of the head to the floor and really maximize this stretch here by pulling the abdominals up. Inhale, and then exhale, tuck the tailbone and begin to roll up. Again, one vertebra at a time until you're in that top vertical position, crown of the head up to the ceiling. And again, inhale, exhale. So really thinking about working through each part of your back, so upper back, then the mid back, then the lower back, trying to keep the pelvis over your feet if you can, and again allowing for that soft bend in the knees. Inhale at the bottom. As you hear, just try to really think abdominals up, pull the center of the back up to the ceiling here, and then exhale, tuck the tailbone, rolling up through the lower back, then the mid back, then the upper back, and then the head comes up at the top. One more, we're going to come down to the mat with this one. Inhale and exhale. Enjoy this stretch through the back. This is really your opportunity to settle into the class as well. Check in with how your body's feeling today. Maybe notice where you've got any tightness, where things feel a little bit wonky. Inhale at the bottom. And now we're going to bend more at the knees. Bring the hands around to behind the body, fingertips to the mat, and just bring yourself gently down to sit in the middle of the mat. And we're going to begin with some seated rollbacks. So, sitting nice and tall in this position, I want your feet planted into the mat, knees bent at about a 90-degree angle. And you want your knees and your feet in line with your hips. And when I talk about your hips, I mean the hip bones. So if you bring your hands to the hip bones, it's narrower than you think. Knees, feet traveling in that same parallel line. You should imagine that you squeeze a small fist in between the knees. Okay, and then here we want shoulders over the pelvis. Ideally a vertical spine here through this position. Are you really sitting directly on your sit bones? So you might want to do what I just did then and kind of like move yourself around. Sometimes you need to literally kind of get yourself into position so you can sit on the sit bones. And then bring the hands to just behind the knees. Inhale here, nice and tall in this position. Elbows are wide. Exhale. I want you to keep the shoulders over the hips, over the pelvis, and just allow yourself to round back. So the center of the back is reaching backwards, but the shoulders are staying just where they are. And then inhale, lift up nice and tall. Crown of the head to the ceiling. And exhale, rounding. You should feel the abdominals pulling back as you go into this rounded position. And then inhale to lift. Two more like this. Exhale to round. Abdominals pull back. Gazing down at the knees as you're in this position. And then inhale, lifting nice and tall, just being careful that the shoulders don't move. Last one like this. Exhale, round. So the head's following the line of the spine. And inhale, lift. And as we come up, be careful that you don't overextend. So we're not flinging the head back up here. We're just gazing straight ahead. We're going to build on this now. So we're going to incorporate the roll back part of it. So initially, we keep the shoulders over the hips. Inhale. Exhale, find that rounded position first. So again, abdominals draw back. We're going into that curve through the back, gazing down at the knees. And now holding on to the knees, we're going to allow ourselves to roll back. We're using the lower abdominals. We're creating a curl through the lower portion of the back here. Arms straight, keep hanging on. And then, inhale, we come back up. Keep that roundness through the spine until the shoulders are over the hips and we lift nice and tall at the top. So we speed it up a little bit. Exhale, round first, and then roll back. Inhale, keep that same shape through the spine as you come back up, only lifting tall as you get to the top. 2 more like this. Exhale, round, and roll back. Don't worry if your toes come away from the mat as you reach here. Inhale, coming back up and lifting. Last one like this. Exhale, round. And rolling back just to the point where the arms are straight. And then inhale, rolling up and lifting. And now we're going to remove the hands. So doing it without the hands for support. Hands are in line with the shoulders. The palms are facing one another, and you want the hands to be shoulder width as well. And when we're here, just be really careful that we don't shrug them out. We want them to be connected into the back and also not up here. So just really, really strongly supported through the shoulder joint here. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, we're doing exactly the same movement. Now we don't have the hands for support. So we're going to round first, keep the shoulders over the hips, and then roll back. Try to go to the point that you were at before. Keep the arms parallel to the mat. So hands in line with the shoulders. And then keep that shape in the spine. We're going to roll up until the shoulders are over the hips and then open up at the top. And again, exhale, round first. And then roll back. And then inhale, coming back up. And lift nice and tall. We're just getting that movement through the spine and getting used to working in what we call the C curve. Exhale, round. Holding. And then inhale, coming up and lifting. Then we're going to add on slightly here. We're going to exhale, round. Roll back. Inhale, hold. Same as we're here, inhale up, and then as we come to the top, we're now going to lift the hands up. We're just going to get a nice sense of stretch here. And then exhale, we round as the arms come back to parallel, and then roll back. Inhale, coming back up, and lifting. Last one. Exhale, round, hands back in line with the shoulders. And rolling back, and inhale, and lift, and then just turn the palms out to the sides, get a nice sense of stretch here, reach the hands behind you, and then bring them back in front, so just a nice circle, and we're going to roll down to the mat, so just the same movement, but we're going to go all the way down this time, so keep the shoulders over the hips initially. Find that curve through the spine, gaze down to the knees, and then we roll back. Keep the arms parallel to the mat. The legs are going to straighten out here. Don't worry about it. And then when you're down, just center yourself a little bit more. So We want the feet and the knees to be in the same distance that we had before, so in line with the hips. But now we want the feet to be a little bit closer. Where they are is going to depend on your body proportions. For me personally, I like to have the heels just past where I can reach them with the fingertips. But you might have longer arms than me or shorter arms. It all just depends. So ideally, when you go into the first of the next exercise, you'll be able to kind of tell where you personally need to be. So we're going to do some pelvic tilts before we go into the warm-up series. So everything here, ideally, is in neutral. How we're going to find that, I'll tell you. So your hip bones that we just talked about when we were doing the beginning of the seated roll back just then, I want you to take the heels of the hands and place them on the hip bones. Even if you can't actually feel the hip bones through your skin, you kind of have a sense of where they are. So I want you to place the heel of the hands over those 2 points. And then I want you to place the fingertips together and the thumbs together, the tips of the fingers, tips of the thumbs. You create this little triangle shape here. Where the fingertips meet at the center, they should ideally be just over where your pubic bone is. Again, you might not be able to actually feel it, but you have a sense of where it is. So now you've got this triangle shape. Ideally, we want to begin in what we call neutral pelvis, which essentially is where the bony hip bones, which we call the ASIS, and the pubic bone, the pubis symphysis, they are on the same line. So how we measure this? So take your head off the mat for the moment. We ideally, if you take a look down, we ideally want the bones, all 3 points here in the triangle, to be on the same level. Bring the head back down and just have a play with the position of your back, your pelvis, to try and get them on an even horizontal plane. So when you kind of feel like you're there, take that to be your personal neutral pelvis. It can take a bit of playing around, so don't worry if you don't quite get it right now. We're going to begin by now going into what we call a posterior tilt in the pelvis. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, keep the hands over the hip bones and pubic bone. You're going to draw the abdominals down to the mat. Allow the tailbone to lift. You're going to feel the pubic bone lift higher and the ASIS, the hip bones, lower. This is what we call the posterior tilt. And what we're doing here is we're really using the lower abdominals to find this work here. So in Pilates, we talk an awful lot about this position. We'll talk about things like tucking the tailbone or pull pubic bone to nose. This is the sensation that I want you to think about when we go into those exercises. And now bring everything back to neutral. And now we're going to go the other way. You're going to press the tailbone down into the mat. So the pubic bone is going to point away from you and down. The hip bones are going to lift. So now the horizontal plane has shifted completely out of position the other way. So your fingertips should be lower than the heels of the hands. This is what we call the anterior tilt. When you're here, you should feel as though the center of the back is lifting away from the mat. And then come back to neutral. So now you've got an idea of what they should feel like. Bring the hands down to the sides of the body. We're going to do a couple of tilts just without the hands, just you kind of finding the feeling. So we begin. Inhale, exhale, draw the abdominals down, lift the tailbone. Find that curl through the lower part of the abdominals. And then inhale back to neutral. And then exhale, go into that anterior tilt. Tailbone comes down, hip bones lift. And inhale back, one more each way. And then we're going to get into the proper work. Exhale, abdominals draw back down, tailbone lifts. And inhale back to neutral. And then last one, exhale, tailbone down. Hip bones are higher than the pubic bone. This is the anterior tilt. And then inhale back to neutral. And now we go into the warm-up series. So that was a lot of preparation, but I hope it'll be helpful. So we begin with the pelvic curl. We're going to begin by going into that posterior tilt. So inhale to prepare. The arms are planted down at the sides of the body. The palms are down. The shoulders are pressing into the mat here. And again, just be mindful that the knees are in line with the hip bones. Exhale, draw the abdominals down, go into that posterior tilt. The tailbone is going to lift. We're thinking pubic bone to nose, which is impossible, by the way, but it's just something we think about. And now press the weight into your heels. Start to lift the pelvis away. We're going to lift up until we're in a straight line from shoulder to knee. Inhale at the top to hold. While you're here, I want you to bring the hands to the top of the ribs. Just gently press the ribs down, so we don't want the ribs to pop. And now bring the hands to the sides of your tailbone, pelvis. I want you to imagine that you're going to tuck the tailbone even more by really squeezing the glutes, using the hamstrings and the inner thighs to get the pelvis higher. So we want your pelvis to be higher than the ribs, or not the pelvis, but the top of the pelvis. And now bring the arms back to the sides of the body, hold it with an inhale, and then exhale, roll down one vertebra at a time. So we're joining back down, upper back, mid back, lower back, and then the tailbone releases to the mat with an inhale. And then exhale. Again, we're going to speed it up now. Rolling up one vertebra at a time. Holding at the top. Inhale, squeeze the glutes. And then exhale. Think pubic bone to nose the whole way down. Only releasing the tailbone at the very last moment and release. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Tuck. And press through the feet. Really think about spreading the weight evenly through all parts of the feet. Inhale at the top to hold. Check that the knees haven't opened. If they have, bring them back in line with the hip bones. Check the ribs aren't popping. And then exhale, rolling down. One vertebra at a time. And release at the bottom. One more. We're going to stay up with the next one. Inhale. Exhale. Tuck first. And then roll up. Hold it at the top. And again, just see if you can find any more lift here by really squeezing the glutes. There's always a little bit more than you can think, but then just drop the ribs down. So you're never going to be as high as you think you should be in this position. And then hold it here. Nice and stable through the pelvis. We're going to inhale to open the knees wider. You should feel it get a bit easier. Exhale, bring the knees back in line with the hips. And then suddenly it's all a lot harder. Inhale to open. Exhale, close. You feel it really switch on. Inhale to open and exhale to close. Inhale to open, exhale, close. Inhale, open, exhale, close. Inhale, open, exhale, close. Inhale, open, exhale, close. Keep that height in the pelvis the whole time. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Hold it here. Keep that squeeze in the glutes. Inhale. And then exhale, roll it down. Pubic bone to nose. Tailbone down last. And then open the arms to a T position. Hands are in line with the shoulders. Palms are facing the ceiling. And really, really think about the whole of the upper torso being down in the mat here. Relax the shoulders down. Draw the abdominals down to the mat. We're going to lift the right leg to tabletop, left leg to tabletop. What do I mean by tabletop? Knee over hip, foot in line with the knee. The legs are glued together at the center. The feet are plantar flexed, which means pointed. So we're pointing through the ankle joint. You can have relaxed toes if that feels more comfortable. Hold it here. We're going to imagine, keep the knees squeezed together through this exercise, spine twist supine. We're going to inhale to rotate the legs over to the left. The right side of the pelvis lifts. The right shoulder blade stays down. It's not a big rotation. The legs move together as one unit. Exhale, use your ribs. Draw the waist down to bring everything back to the center. Really controlled. Inhale over to the right. And we're really thinking about those knees not shifting as you rotate each way. Exhale, draw everything back. It shouldn't feel easy. Inhale over to the left And as we rotate, try to think about both sides of the waist staying the same length. So we're not allowing the knees to come closer to us, move further away, and exhale back. One more each way. Inhale over to the left, and exhale back. And inhale over to the right, and exhale, draw everything back. And then bring the left foot down to the mat, bring the right foot down. Circle the arms around, behind the head, interlace the fingers. We're creating a little basket of support here. So the thumbs are at the base of the skull and really, really interlaced right to the base of the fingers. Elbows are wide, they're in your peripheral vision, they're not relaxed down on the mat. Tailbone is relaxed, feet and knees are back, separated hip width. We're going to go into chest lift. Inhale here in this position. Exhale. I want you to think, we're going to lift the chest. We're going to lift just behind the upper shoulder blades. And as we do, I want you to keep the head relaxed back into the hands. So inhale, prepare, exhale, lift. The head is just following the line of the spine. Tailbone stays relaxed down, elbows stay in our peripheral vision, they don't wrap in. Inhale at the top to hold, and then exhale, peel down, one vertebra at a time. And release at the bottom, inhale, exhale, lift. So we're not lifting beyond the upper back here, the mid back stays down, inhale, hold, and then exhale, peeling down. And we're really thinking about moving through this one bone at a time. So really, really articulating through the spine. Inhale at the top, and then exhale, rolling back down, not letting the elbows change position at all. Inhale at the bottom, and exhale to lift. Inhale, hold at the top, and exhale to lower. We're going to do two more like this. I'm going to get you to hold at the top with the next one. Inhale, exhale to lift. Hold it here. The gaze should be straight to the sort of top third of your thighs. There should be space underneath your chin, so we're not pulling the head down here. Like I say, the head is kind of rested back into the hands. The hands are really supporting the head. And then from here, I want you to remove the hands behind the head, bring them to the back of your thighs, grip the back of the thighs, and use your arms to find a little bit more lift. So if you see here, I'm lifted from behind the shoulder blades, keeping that height. Try and challenge yourself now not to let the torso drop as you bring the hands back behind the head. Should feel a lot harder. Inhale, and then exhale, peel back down. With this next one, I want you to come up, stay up, and try and find that height. We're going to go into rotation with the next one. Inhale to prepare, exhale, lift. Again, try and get to that same height you were at a moment ago. Hold it here, inhale. Exhale, we're going to break down the rotation. So you're going to take your left hand, release it, bring it to the outside of your right thigh, and allow yourself to rotate just enough to make that happen. So when you're here, the center of your torso should be pointing kind of directly towards where your left hand is on the thigh. Right hand just stays behind the head. In this rotation, lift a little bit higher. So we're keeping that lift behind the shoulder blades here. The left shoulder blade comes further away from the mat. Hold it, it should feel hard. And then come back to the center, both hands back behind the head. Don't let yourself drop. Other way. Exhale over to the left, right hand comes to the left thigh. Lift a little bit higher. And inhale to the center, hands back behind the head. And right. And center, it shouldn't feel easy. And left. And center, one more each way. And right. And center. And left. And center, inhale. And then exhale, release all the way down. Your abdominals should feel like they're on fire. Stay there. because we're going to go up and do the actual full thing without our hands, our arms for support. So just give yourself a breather. Inhale, we're going to lift up exactly the same way. Exhale to lift. Inhale to hold. We're going to do 3 lots where the hands stay behind the head the whole way. I want you to do the same level of rotation as you did before. So we're going to exhale over to the right. Again, the center of the chest is just pointing to just past that right thigh. Gaze is in line. Inhale to the center. Don't let yourself drop. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the center, and each time you rotate, you're trying to go towards it as well. Inhale to the center, 1 more each way. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the center, and exhale, release all the way down. Whoa. Feels hard. It never gets any easier, you'll be pleased to know. Reach the arms overhead. Reach the legs long. We're just going to stretch through the front of the abdominals. So allow your back to arch here. Really press the tailbone down. Pull the center of the back away from the mat. And just take a couple of deep breaths. Just get a good stretch into the front of the abdominals. And then circle the arms around. If, like me, you need to just pull your leggings up, go for it. Pretend you didn't see that. Hands back not behind your head. Hands back to the sides of the body. Arms are straight, palms are pressing down. And then think about trying to draw your abdominals down to the mat here. We're not pressing the back into the mat, by the way. It's more of a sensation of having everything engaged in the center. Bring the right leg to tabletop, left leg to tabletop. Glue them together. So again, knees over hips, feet in line with the knees, toes pointed. We're going to go into 100 prep. Arms overhead, palms facing the ceiling. Take an inhale. We're going to exhale to lift. Hands are in line with the shoulders, palms are facing down. As we're in this position, the shoulder blades are lifted away from the mat. We're gazing at the center of the thighs. Hold this lift in the torso. Inhale to lift just the arms up until they're at high diagonal, and then the arms, head, neck, chest follow as the arms reach overhead, head rests down. So we exhale, the arms come up first, the head, neck and chest come with it. Legs stay exactly where they are. Inhale, lift just the arms up to that high diagonal and everything back over. And exhale, lift. Inhale, arms lift first, keep that lift in the chest, everything back over. And exhale, lift. And if for any reason this is feeling hard today, just being in this tabletop position, you can absolutely do this with the feet down. We're going to do 2 more wherever you are. So with feet down, it just looks like this. Legs glued together at the center. Inhale, arms up to that high diagonal and down. Last one. Exhale, lift. Inhale, arms up and bring everything back down. And then bring the feet down to the mat. We're going to have more of a bend in the knees again here. We're going to go into a roll up prep. So it's not that dissimilar to what we did with seated rollbacks at the start of class. Have the legs glued together at the center. Like I say, feet a little bit further away. Keep the arms overhead. The palms are now going to turn inwards so they're facing one another. And just be mindful here that the ribs aren't popping. So the arms might need to hover away from the mat rather than resting down here, which, to be fair, you'll feel the abdominals working more anyway. So same movement as what we just did with 100 prep with the arms, but the palms stay facing one another. We inhale, lift the arms up and over till they're parallel to the mat, head, neck, chest follow. We're in this kind of chest lift position. Now take your hands to the back of the thighs. Elbows are wide. You're going to exhale, begin to round up. Try to find that roundness that we had in the beginning of class 3, the seated rollback. When you're at the top, release the arms. Palms are facing one another. You keep this shape in the spine. So this is what we call our C curve. Abdominals are pulling back. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to tuck the tailbone, so pubic bone to nose. Think about those lower abdominals. Hands stay parallel to the mat, arms stay parallel to the mat as we roll back down. Holding that chest lift for a moment. Arms come up and over, head, neck, chest, down. One more like this. Inhale, arms over, head, neck, chest, lift. Bring the hands to the back of the thighs. Use the arms as you lift up with this. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round up. And bring the arms out in front, palms facing one another. Inhale. And exhale, rolling down. With control, nice and slow. Hands in line with the shoulders, holding that chest lift, arms up and over. And then this time, we're going to try and challenge ourselves not to use the hands behind the thighs. So, if you want to stay with the hands behind the thighs, please do. Inhale, arms overhead, neck, chest, follow. Now this time I want you to try and lift up without using your hands. But try to do so without momentum if you can. Inhale at the top to hold. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone. Rolling down, holding that chest lift for a moment, and arms up and over. One more like this. Again, you can keep using the hands if you need to. Inhale, exhale, inhale to hold, and then exhale, rolling down, using those lower abdominals to find that curve through the tailbone, and over. And now you can have a go at the full thing. You can stay in that previous version, either of the previous versions if you prefer, but if you'd like to have a go at the full thing, legs are now straight, really gluing them together at the centre here, knees pointing to the ceiling, toes are pointed. Palms facing one another, we're going to inhale, arms over, head, neck, chest, follow. Now we're in this chest lift position, but the legs are straight. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round up, until we're at the top. This is what we call our C curve. So we're here, shoulders over the hips, center of the back is pulling back, abdominals are drawing back. You should be looking down to about your knees, head is in line with the spine, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, and then exhale, tuck the tailbone, roll down, keep the hands in line with the shoulders. Hold as you come to the mid-back. And then arms up and over. One more. Inhale. Exhale, tuck. And round. Inhale to hold. And then exhale to lower back down. Really nice and controlled. Holding that chest lift for a moment. And then arms up overhead. And then circle the arms around to the sides of the body. Bring the feet back to the mat. We're going to do the 100, but we're going to break it up into two 50s. We're going to do the first half, 50, with our feet down, just to find that proper form through the top. So legs glued together, feet are planted into the mat, feet are together. And then bring the arms overhead again, so they're beside your ears, palms are facing the ceiling, draw the abdominals down to the mat. We're going to begin the same way as we did with the 100 prep. So inhale here. Exhale, lift the arms up and over, head, neck, chest, follow. Hands are in line with the shoulders, palms are facing down. So in this position, I want you to think shoulder blades away from the mat. You are looking to the center of your thighs. You've got space underneath the chin. As we go into this movement, the arms are going to throw everything off balance. What you want to think about is keeping all of this from the head through to the feet dead still. The only thing is going to move is going to be your arms. So, and we're going to start pumping up and down. We're going to do it from the shoulders. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, small pumps. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, hold it there. Keep that lift in the chest. Inhale, bring just the arms up to that high diagonal, same as 100 prep, and then everything back over. Hands are reaching along behind you, palms are facing the ceiling. So now we're going to do the next 50. You've got the option to stay there with your feet down. If you want to challenge yourself, you're going to do the next version with tabletop. So bring the right leg to tabletop and the left leg to tabletop. Again, knee over hip, foot in line with knee, squeeze together at the center. Whichever version you're doing, it's the same way in. So 50 again. Inhale. Exhale, lift the chest, hands in line with the shoulders. Hold it here. Inhale. Exhale, start pumping. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 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 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, hold it. Inhale, lift just the arms up and then everything back over. And then circle the arms around, bring the hands to the top of the knees and just rock yourself up to seated. So we're going to do teaser prep, which if you're familiar with Pilates, if you've been following Pilates, the teaser is like a famous Pilates shape. This is something that's really helpful for getting you into it because it's got quite a lot going on. Hands behind the knees, legs are glued together. I want you to think here, sitting behind the sit bones, so we're not trying to be vertical through the spine here. Elbows are wide, you're going to really use the hands and the arms here in a moment. So in this position, I want you to lift the right leg up so that the shin is parallel to the mat, and then the left leg is going to come up and join it, elbows wide. We're going to do 2 with the hands on for support. So I want you to think, imagine you've got something balanced on top of your shins. The shins can't move. Here, we're trying to imagine elongating through the spine. So the spine is reaching slightly on a diagonal here to the legs. Everything's nice and balanced. Lifting through the chest, breastbone is reaching forward, nice and proud. We're going to exhale, tuck the tailbone, so think about moving through the pelvis. Lower abdominals, control it here. We're going to tuck the tailbone and begin to lower to the mat only as far as you can keep the legs exactly where they are. It might be a really small movement. And then inhale, come up and lift nice and tall at the top. You might just rock back a tiny bit and that is fine. And again, exhale, tuck and round. You might come to this point. You might only move a little way, it's fine. So that's with the hands on. We're going to do 4 more. You can keep your hands on today if you want to do that. If you want to do the full thing, release the hands, bring the arms so that they're in line with the sides of the shins. Palms are facing one another. Really keep the shoulders down, away from the ears here. Nice and lifted through the spine. Inhale. Exhale, tuck the tailbone. Keep the arms parallel to the mat as you lower. And then inhale, lift. Nice and tall at the top. And then again, exhale, tuck, down, and inhale, lift. Nice and proud as you lift at the top. And exhale, down. And inhale, lift, 1 more. Exhale, down. And inhale, lift. And then bring 1 foot down and the other foot down. Soles of the feet together and just fold forward for a moment. It's quite taxing on the hip flexors. Teaser prep. You'll be feeling it at the front, top of the thighs. So just have a moment there. Butterfly the knees out if you need to. And then from there, we're going to go into rolling like a ball, which kind of works on the same movement through the pelvis. So feet are going to come close to the glutes now. Legs are squeezed together again. Bring the feet real close to you. Again, sit behind the sit bones. Hands are around the ankles, elbows are wide. Gazing down at the knees, you're going to point the toes and then find balance. So really squeeze the legs together at the center. Elbows are really locked in position here, so you're going to use your arms in this exercise. Pointed toes, curved spine. We're thinking about a ball shape here. So really, really, really compact, not letting anything come out of position. What we're going to do first is we're going to do a couple of preps. So we're going to do a movement that's going to feel really weird and like kind of a bit pointless, but it's going to help find that movement. So we've got this shape. Keep this shape exactly as it is. I want you to allow yourself, so you're going to let yourself kind of rock back a little bit, feel like you're going to fall and then catch yourself and do the catching with your abdominals. So allow yourself to rock back a little and then catch yourself. And we'll do a few more of those. Rock back and catch. And you should really feel like that point where everything switches on to save you. And rock back and catch. One more. Rock back and catch, and then at the top. So that movement, the stuff that was happening here, that's what I want you to think about as we go through this exercise. So back into our ball shape, elbows wide. There's another thing to think about with rolling like a ball. We'll do the first one and then I'll explain. So what we're going to do, head down, looking down at your knees, don't let your head fling back. We're going to inhale, tuck the tailbone, roll to the base of the shoulder blades, exhale up to balance, not put the toes down like I just did. Inhale, tuck, roll, exhale up. And as you're coming up, you're doing two things. You're thinking about your abdominals, helping you up, but also you're pushing your feet into your hands into the feet to really work against one another and make it happen. So inhale, tuck, exhale up. And if it's your first time doing this, and you find that you get back and you just get stuck, it might be that you just need to practice the prep. So just that rocking that we just did a moment ago. Also, it might be that as you're going back, you could be flinging your head back, which makes it get harder. So be mindful of keeping the chin tucked. And also just really think about this roundness through the spine. You want to try and maintain that shape as you roll in back. One more. Inhale back and exhale up. And then bring the feet down. Sit further back on the mat. And then we're going to open the feet to mat width. So we're going to do spine stretch. Ideally, with spine stretch, you have a vertical spine, i.e. shoulders over the hips with straight legs. A lot of people just find that they're too tight in the hamstrings to be able to sit upright in this position, and they kind of end up back there. If that's you, I would rather you come here and you have bent knees than be here, because otherwise the exercise kind of loses the point of it. So you can have bent knees, or you can also place yoga blocks, cushions, something under you here so that you can get that kind of lift either spine. You can sit on a chair. My most important thing for me personally is you being straight here. Spine stretch. So feet are flexed. Really think about pushing through the heels here. Arms out in front, palms are facing one another. We're going to take an inhale. Exhale, like we did with roll down at the beginning of the class, you're going to roll forward and down, one vertebra at a time, through the spine. Keep the abdominals drawing back, keep the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale at the bottom, hold it here. Check the collarbones are wide. And then exhale, roll up through the lower back, mid back, upper back, and then the head comes up last at the top. And again, just check that you haven't hinged backwards in this position. Inhale, exhale. We're really thinking about peeling forward and down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. If you imagine in fact, you can even sit right against a wall with this. I was going to say imagine, but you can do it. If you sit right against a wall, you'll really be able to feel your spine articulating through. What we don't want is we don't want hinge or a collapse. Inhale at the top. Exhale, rolling forward and down. So we think really move through the upper back, then the mid back, then the lower back. Hold it at the bottom. Inhale and then exhale. Lower back, mid back, upper back, and then lifting at the top. One more. Inhale, exhale. It's a really wonderful exercise, this. It takes a bit of time to get your head around what you're actually supposed to be doing, but I very rarely teach a class without it. And lift nice and tall at the top. And then just shake out through the shoulders. It can be quite taxing, sitting there like that. Then bring the legs together. We're going to go to spine twist, but we're going to do it with our hands behind our heads initially. So same thing, the legs are straight. If you struggle to sit upright here, exactly the same principle, bend the knees or find something to sit on. but being vertical through the pelvis up to the neck is really important. So that's my most key thing. So we're going to bring the hands behind the head, interlace the fingers, create that basket of support for the back of the head, the feet are flexed. Again, I want your elbows in your peripheral vision, lifting really nice and tall through the spine here. Think crown of the head reaching up to the ceiling. I want you to keep that lift as we exhale to rotate the torso over to the right. And as we're here, it's only the upper torso that's moving. I want your breastbone to be pointing over to the right. The head is following the line of the breastbone. And as we're there, we're going to do an extra pulse. Inhale to the center. So there's a double exhale as we rotate. Inhale to the center. So we go inhale, inhale. So we exhale to the right and inhale. Exhale to the left and inhale. And just be mindful that you don't end up hinging backwards through the back. Keep lifting the crown of the head up to the ceiling. Try to imagine growing taller with every rotation. Exhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, exhale, inhale. One more each way. Exhale, exhale, inhale. Keep the elbows just in your peripheral vision, not wrapping in. And then release the arms. Cross the legs. Bring the hands in front of the knees to transition to a 4-point kneeling. So from here, we want hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're going to go into front support. So before we do anything, I want you to, double check that the hands and knees are, as I say, under the shoulders and hips. And then second thing, I want you to really press into the hands here so that we don't sink into the shoulder blades. So if you take one hand away and press into the center of the back, allow yourself to sink and then push up. Feel the center of the back, really lifting here. Bring that hand back down. And then just check that the back isn't arching in either direction. We want a nice neutral spine, neutral pelvis. And then the head is in line with the spine. It's a lot of chat today, bear with me. So keep this position, keep the height in the pelvis, that's really important. I want you to step the right leg back, keep that height in the pelvis exactly where it is, tuck the right toes, we're going to go into a plank. Left leg's going to step back, keep the pelvis exactly where it was a moment ago, don't sink, don't lift. Hold it here. We're going to bend the right knee, the right toe is going to point, the right knee is going to gently come in along the mat and then straighten back out and tuck. And then left knee comes in and then we straighten back out and we exhale as we bend in and straighten the toes, tuck back out and left and back, and the whole way through we're not letting the pelvis shift from side to side. And the reason that we allow the knee to gently come in across the mat and we feel that contact is that allows us to know that the pelvis is exactly at the right height. One more each way, right and back and left and back. Hold it there. Bring the hips to the ceiling. Push into an upstretch. Just pedal it out through the feet for a moment. It should feel like a nice bit of relief being here. And then softly bend at the knees and either walk or jump to the front of the mat. Bring yourself down to your bum. That's a very technical Pilates term, that. And then bring the hands behind the shoulders. Legs are straight, toes are pointed. Hands, palms are planted down, fingertips are pointing towards the feet. Legs and feet are hip width. So you have a soft bend in the knees here initially, not knees, elbows, wrong body part. And then we're going to press into the hands really actively, lift the breastbone forward, arms are straight. Try not to hyperextend the elbows here. If you need to have like a very, very slight soft bend in the elbows, do, if that gives you the stability. Okay, back support. Keep that breastbone pointing forward. The head stays in line with the spine. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, squeeze the glutes, lift the hips up. So we've got a straight line from neck to ankle. And then keep the arms straight. We're going to inhale, tap the hips down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, tap, exhale, lift. Inhale, tap, exhale, lift. 2 more. Inhale, tap, exhale, lift. Last one, inhale, tap, exhale, lift. And then allow the hips to lower, keep the arms straight, and then release the hands, shake it out through the wrists. And then we're going to come to our side. We're going to do side lift. So we're going to be in a straight line. Bottom arm is extended long, palm is facing the ceiling, ear is resting on the arm. And then here we want top hip stacked on top of the bottom hip. And also just check, if you see the difference here, I've shifted that top hip closer to my face. Check that it's directly above the bottom one so the legs are the same line, if you see that difference there. Knees are pointing forward, legs are squeezed together, top hand planted down onto the mat for support here. You should feel that at the moment there's a slight gap underneath the waist, whether it's figurative or literal. And then from here, we're going to inhale, hover the legs about an inch off the mat, and then exhale, use the waist at the top, lift them higher. We're just going up and down. Inhale down to hover, exhale to lift. Inhale down, exhale, lift. So it's entirely abdominal, this exercise. It looks like a leg exercise, but it's all about the obliques. Exhale, lift. Inhale down, exhale, lift. Inhale down, exhale, lift. Inhale down, exhale, lift. One more. Inhale down, exhale, lift. And then bring the legs all the way down. Bend the knees, push yourself up to seated, and then swivel the legs around to the other side. Exactly the same thing here. So bottom arm extended long. Check your setup, top hands planted into the mat for support. And then again, just check that the hips are stacked. And also just that they're not tilted. Couldn't get my words out then. So we don't want the top hip behind or forward. We want it directly over the bottom one. Again, knees pointing forward. Hover the legs with an inhale. Exhale, lift up higher. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. And inhale down. And as you exhale and lift, the top of the waist is lifting the legs. The bottom of the waist is pressing down into the mat. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. One more after this. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. And then lower the legs all the way down. And then bring yourself to your front. I'm just going to unclip my mic. It might get noisy. And we're going to finish with some back extension work. So back extension, the basic back extension to begin. You are lying prone, so you're on your stomach. The legs are glued together, the toes are pointed. Press the pubic bone down into the mat here. So we're really thinking about those lower abdominals working. This will protect the lower back. And then bring the arms to the sides of the body. Palms are just lightly holding the hips at the sides. And we want the arms and the hands really actively lifted away from the mat here. Fingertips are reaching towards the toes. It should feel like a lot of work just being here. Face is down, well, not down, we're not resting the face. The face is hovering away from the mat and we're looking down at it. As we go into this exercise, I want you to keep the head in line with the spine. Exhale to prepare. We're going to inhale, upper back is going to lift, breastbone forward, head stays in line with the spine, we're just looking down to the top of the mat. The bottom rib should be connected down to the mat here, so it's not as big an extension as you think. And then exhale to lower. Keep the arms away from the mat the whole time. Inhale to lift. Really think about the fingertips of reaching towards the toes and the top here. And then exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. And exhale, lower. Keep pressing the pubic bone down into the mat. Keep the shoulders wide. Inhale to lift. Should feel hard. And exhale to lower. One more. Inhale to lift. And exhale, lower. all the way down. Hands in front of the shoulders and just press back into a rest position, fingertips reaching long, sitting over the glutes, and just really stretch out through the back here, knees together. Allow your head to rest between the arms. And then when you're ready, come back onto your front. We're going to finish one last thing. We're going to do a swan dive prep. So, again, legs are glued together to begin. They will naturally separate as you come up into this. Don't worry about it too much. We want to think about the inner thighs trying to squeeze together. Pubic bone pressing down into the mat. Hands are in front of the shoulders. Palms are pressing down. Forearms are in line with the sides of the mat, and the elbows are really pressing down here. And again, gazing down to the mat, but hovering the face away just about an inch. Here, take an exhale, prepare. We're going to inhale, upper back is going to lift. We're going to keep the forearms down, keep the elbows down, head just stays in line with the spine. Lifting only to the point where the upper back is, lifting our upper back only to the point where we can keep the elbows down. When you get to your range here, you now have the choice to start to straighten the arms, only to the point where you can keep the shoulders away from the ears. So you might just end up here. That's fine. Gazing straight ahead. Exhale, lower back down with control. The head follows the line of the spine. Bring the elbows down. Head comes back down to hover. We're going to do two more. Should feel quite a lot like it's work. It's not a stretch, this. Inhale. Lifting the upper back first. Keep the elbows down. When you get to your extent of range there, then lift higher. Gazing straight ahead. Abdominals pull away from the mat. And then exhale, lower. Bring the legs back together if they separated. And down at the bottom, prepare. Last one. Inhale, lift. And extend just to the point, like I say, where you can keep the shoulders away from the ears. Gazing straight ahead at the top. And then exhale. Lower with control. Head follows the line of the spine. And release down at the bottom. And then again, just push back into one final rest position. So sitting over your heels, fingertips reach long. Drop the head between the arms. And then just slowly walk the hands, I'm going to grab my mic, towards the body. Come to sit upright. So you're sitting on the heels. Turn to face the camera and clip my mic back on. Keep the left hand on the thigh. Bring the right hand up to the ceiling, palm facing inwards. Take an inhale here, lift nice and tall. And then exhale, allow yourself to bend. Arm comes over, look down to the side of the mat. Just get a good stretch through the side of the body here. And then inhale up to the top. And exhale, bend. And inhale to lift. One more on this side. Exhale, bend. And inhale, lift. And then bring that right hand down, left hand lifts. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bend. Looking down in the direction that you're bending towards. And inhale up. And exhale, bend. And inhale, lift. Last one. Exhale, bend. And inhale, lift. And then release. And then just bring the hands to the shoulders. Do a few circles back. Say 5 in this direction. 4, 5, and then the other way. Circle forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then shake it out. And then we're going to finish with one roll down. So just turn around, bring yourself up to to standing, however you want to get there. And then same as the beginning of class, hands, God, I'm getting mixing up all my body parts now. Feet are directly underneath the hips, arms at the sides of the body, exactly the same as the beginning. Take an inhale, exhale, nod the chin, and begin to roll down through the spine, really taking notice of any differences here in tension, in tightness, in wonkiness. Soft bend through the knees, crown of the head dropping to the floor. Take an inhale, and then exhale, tuck the tailbone, rolling up. One vertebra at a time, up to standing. And we are done. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions or anything, get in touch with me, and I will hopefully see you in class soon. Thank you. Bye.